swear to you, I never thought I'd be standing here today, telling you about how I almost lost my life in the craziest way possible, through a revolver shootout. Yeah, you heard that right. Not a car accident, not some random illness, but a straight-up Wild West-style gunfight that spiraled out of control. Before I dive into the insanity, let me set the scene because context matters. Without it, you'd probably think I was just exaggerating or making this up for clicks. But trust me, every second of this story burned itself into my memory. It started like any other day. I wasn't looking for trouble. In fact, I was trying to avoid it. You ever have one of those mornings where you just feel like you should stay in bed? That was me. But no, I had errands, I had plans, and I figured, what's the worst that could happen? Oh man, if only I had known. The whole thing began with a friend of mine. Let's call him Max. Max was always the kind of guy who had a talent for dragging me into nonsense. You know that one friend who's a magnet for chaos? The guy who always says, "Don't worry, it'll be fine," right before everything explodes? That's Max. So, Max calls me up in the morning and says, "Hey, I've got something you'll never forget. Meet me later today. It's going to be insane." Now, normally, I'd laugh it off. But Max has this way of talking where you feel like if you don't show up, you're going to miss the story of a lifetime. And, well, he wasn't wrong this time. Fast forward a couple of hours, and I find myself standing in this dusty, half-abandoned lot outside of town. It looked like something ripped out of an old cowboy movie. Broken fences, dry dirt, and even this creaky wooden shed that probably hadn't been touched since the 70s. My gut immediately told me, nope, bad idea, turn around. But of course, I didn't listen. Max shows up, grinning like he just won the lottery, and behind him, 2 revolvers. Real ones. Heavy, polished, loaded. He goes, "We're gonna settle something old school. Just for fun." And that's when my brain did a double take. Wait, you mean like actually shoot? With those? Are you insane? He laughs it off, tells me it's safe, tells me he's done it before. And here's the thing, I don't know if it was ego, stupidity, or just plain bad luck, but I didn't walk away. I stayed. That moment right there, that split second where I should have left, that's where everything changed. That's where the door opened to one of the most terrifying experiences of my life. Because what started as a dumb idea between friends was about to turn into a nightmare. And trust me, it wasn't just fun. It wasn't just old school. It was chaos. Pure, unfiltered madness. So there we were, 2 idiots in the middle of nowhere, staring at each other like wannabe cowboys. Max had that stupid grin on his face, like he was about to film the next blockbuster. Me? I was sweating bullets before a single shot was even fired. He hands me one of the revolvers, and I swear the weight of that thing nearly snapped me back to reality. You know when you hold something and instantly feel the danger radiating from it? That was this revolver. Cold steel, heavy in my hand, and absolutely unforgiving. This wasn't a toy. This wasn't airsoft. This was real. Relax. Max says, "We're not going to actually shoot at each other. Just, for the adrenaline." Yeah, right? If that was supposed to calm me down, it didn't. Because here's the thing. When you introduce real weapons into any situation, no matter the intentions, you're already playing Russian roulette with fate. And deep down, I think Max knew it too. He explains the rules. We stand apart, back to back, take 10 steps, turn, aim, and pretend. Simple, stupid, dangerous. I should have walked away right then. But no, I was already in too deep. We line up. The lot is dead silent, except for the crunch of dirt under our boots. My heart is pounding so loud I swear Max could hear it. Step after step, I feel the distance grow, but at the same time, the tension is squeezing tighter and tighter. 10. Max shouts. We both spin around, revolvers raised. And for a split second, it's almost cinematic. 2 figures framed against the late afternoon sun. Dust floating in the air, everything frozen in time. Then Max pulls the trigger. Bang! The sound tears through the air like a thunderclap. My ears ring, my vision blurs, and my brain refuses to process what just happened. He actually fired. Not into the air, not into the ground. At me. I dropped to the dirt, adrenaline exploding through my body. The bullet missed me by inches, slamming into the fence behind. Splinters fly. My stomach twists into knots. This isn't a game anymore. What the hell, Max? I scream, my voice cracking between rage and terror. He's laughing. Laughing. Like this is the funniest thing he's ever done. Relax, man. I wasn't aiming at you. But that's the problem. He could have been. A fraction of a second, a tiny slip, and I'd be bleeding out on that dirt lot. And here's the kicker. Instead of throwing the revolver down and walking away, something inside me snapped. Maybe it was fear, maybe it was pride, but I raised my gun too. My finger hovered over the trigger, shaking. I wasn't thinking about rules anymore. I wasn't thinking about fun. All I could think was, he nearly killed me. The look on Max's face changed in an instant. That cocky grin disappeared, replaced by something I'd never seen before. Uncertainty. Maybe even regret. He realized he had pushed it too far. But it was too late. The line had been crossed. Because once the first shot is fired, there's no going back. And that was the moment our joke turned into a duel that could end with one of us not walking away. The second my finger twitched on that trigger, time slowed down. You know how in movies, when everything gets quiet and the only thing you hear is your own heartbeat? That's exactly what it felt like. My revolver was raised, my hands were trembling, and Max, suddenly realizing this wasn't funny anymore, started shouting, "Whoa, whoa, chill, man. Don't do it." But here's the thing. It wasn't me doing anything. It was adrenaline, pure survival instinct. My brain wasn't processing logic anymore. My body was on autopilot, ready to defend itself after nearly being shot. And then, crack, another shot rang out. This time it wasn't Max. It was me. The recoil slammed through my arm, nearly ripping the revolver out of my grip. The bullet whizzed past him, smacking into the wooden shed behind. Splinters exploded, and the echo of the shot bounced across the empty lot. The look on his face flipped from cocky to terrified. His laughter was gone. Now it was real. Deadly real. "Are you out of your mind?" he screamed, ducking behind that half-broken fence. But I barely heard him. My ears were ringing, my vision narrowing, my chest burning with each breath. And then he fired again. Bang! This time I felt it. A rush of hot air as the bullet ripped past my shoulder, close enough that I swear I could feel the burn. That was the moment it hit me. If one of us didn't stop, someone was going to die. The lot erupted into chaos. Dust kicked up with every movement. The smell of gunpowder filled the air, and every sound was sharp, violent, final. I ducked behind the shed, my back pressed against the rotting wood, my knuckles white around the revolver grip. For a few seconds, there was silence. No shots, just my ragged breathing and the distant hum of wind through broken boards. My mind was racing. Do I shoot again? Do I run? Do I trust Max not to put a bullet in my back if I make a move? "Max!" I shouted, my voice raw. "This has to stop." No response. Just silence. And then, crack! A bullet tore through the wood right next to my head. Splinters sprayed across my face, scratching my skin. He wasn't listening. He wasn't playing anymore. He was fighting. That was when fear turned into desperation. I bolted from cover, revolver still raised, my legs stumbling through the dirt as I tried to get an angle. Every nerve in my body screamed that this was the end, that one wrong move, one unlucky bounce, and I'd collapse into the dirt for good. Max popped out from behind the fence, gun raised, eyes wide like a cornered animal. For a split second, we locked eyes, and I swear, in that frozen moment, I saw the same thing in him that I felt inside. Raw terror. Neither of us wanted this. Neither of us wanted to pull the trigger again. But neither of us could back down. And then, as if on cue, both of us fired. Bang! Bang! The two shots collided in the air like thunderclaps, the echoes merging into one deafening roar. I felt the kick of the revolver in my hands, saw the flash in his, and then silence. The world stood still. Dust floated, my ears rang, my body froze. Had I hit him? Had he hit me? Was this it? My whole life, my entire existence, balanced on that one impossible second. And I swear to you, that was the closest I've ever come to death. For a few seconds, I couldn't move. My whole body was locked in place, like stone. The revolver felt welded to my hand, my lungs forgot how to breathe, and my ears still echoed with the twin thunderclaps of those last shots. The world was silent. Too silent. No birds, no wind, just the ringing in my head and the pounding of my heartbeat. I glanced down at myself, half expecting to see blood soaking through my shirt, a hole burned into my chest, something, but nothing. I was alive, shaking, terrified but alive. Then it hit me, what about Max? My eyes darted across the lot. He wasn't where he had been. The fence was empty, no movement, no sound. For a second, a sickening thought crawled through my brain. I killed him. That thought alone almost knocked me to my knees. My stomach twisted while rising in my throat. The revolver slipped from my grip and hit the dirt with a dull thud. My hands were trembling so violently I could barely hold them steady. "Max!" I shouted, my voice cracking. "Say something, man." Silence. Panic clawed at my chest. I stumbled forward, scanning the lot, my legs like jelly. Each step felt like I was wading through cement, weighed down by dread. I rounded the corner of the fence, and there he was. Max was on the ground, lying on his side, revolver still in his hand. My heart nearly exploded. And oh no. I rushed toward him, dropping to my knees. My hands hovered above his body, terrified to touch, terrified of what I might find. For a second, the world blurred, my vision swimming, tears threatening to break free. Then he groaned. That groan, the single most beautiful, terrifying sound I've ever heard in my life, snapped me back from the edge. He was alive. "Damn, you almost got me," he muttered, his voice strained, shaky, but very much real. I collapsed back in the dirt, gasping for air, half laughing, half crying. The relief hit me so hard it was dizzying. I wasn't dead. He wasn't dead. Somehow, through all the chaos, through all the bullets and insanity, we had both survived. But here's the thing about surviving. It doesn't mean you're fine. Max rolled onto his back, clutching his arm. The bullet had grazed him, tearing through the skin but missing bone. Blood was seeping through his sleeve, dark and messy, but it wasn't fatal. He winced, laughed weakly, and said, "Man, we're the dumbest people alive." And he was right. Dumb, reckless, unbelievably lucky. I sat there, staring at the revolvers lying in the dirt, and it hit me like a freight train. 1 inch. That's all it would have taken. 1 inch in the wrong direction, and one of us would have been gone forever. The lot around us suddenly felt different. Empty, haunted. The silence wasn't peaceful anymore. It was heavy, suffocating, like the ground itself was judging us for what we'd just done. For the first time, I felt the weight of it all. The stupidity, the risk, the sheer insanity of playing with death for no reason other than adrenaline. We weren't cowboys. We weren't heroes. We were two fools who had stared straight into the barrel of mortality and somehow got to walk away. But even as relief washed over me, one thought refused to leave my mind. Next time, we might not be so lucky. When I finally stumbled back home that night, I don't think I'd ever felt so empty and full at the same time. My body was drained. My clothes reeked of gunpowder. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I just sat there in the dark, staring at my hands, replaying every single moment in my head. The sound of the shots, the sight of Max on the ground, that unbearable silence after I thought I'd killed him. It played on loop, like a nightmare that refused to end. And you know what the scariest part was? It wasn't the gunfire. It wasn't the near-death experience. It was realizing just how thin the line really is between life and death. How one stupid decision, one split-second choice, can flip everything upside down and leave you bleeding in the dirt. I kept asking myself the same question. Why didn't I walk away? I had so many chances. When Max called me, when I saw those revolvers, when he fired the first shot, I could have ended it right there. But I didn't. Ego, adrenaline, pressure, whatever it was, it almost cost me everything. And here's the truth I learned the hard way. You don't realize how fragile life is until you almost lose it. That day changed me. It ripped away the illusion that I was invincible, that bad things only happen to other people. No, bad things happen fast, and they happen to anyone dumb enough to tempt fate. Max and I didn't talk for a while after that. There was too much unspoken between us. Anger, fear, guilt. But eventually, we did sit down, and we both agreed, never again. No more guns. No more crazy ideas. We'd used up all our luck in one afternoon, and we weren't about to gamble with it again. Looking back now, it feels surreal, almost like a movie I accidentally starred in. But it wasn't a movie. There were no stunt doubles, no safety nets, no second takes. Just two idiots who nearly wrote the last chapter of their lives in a dirt lot with revolvers. And that's why I want to share this story with you. Not because it's entertaining, though yeah, it's insane, but because I need you to understand something. You don't get extra lives. This isn't a video game. When it's over, it's over. If you ever find yourself in a situation where your gut is screaming, get out, listen to it. Don't ignore it like I did. Don't let pride or adrenaline push you into a moment you can't take back. I almost died that day, and I don't say that lightly. I felt death brush right past me, close enough to make my skin crawl. It's not glamorous. It's not cool. It's terrifying. So yeah, I'm standing here now, alive, able to tell you this story. And I don't take that for granted. Every day feels a little different after you stare down the barrel of a gun and walk away breathing. To anyone watching this, I'll leave you with this. Don't be me. Don't be Max. Don't play games with things that can end lives. Respect the weight of your choices, because one day that choice might be the last one you ever get to make. And that, my friends, is why I can honestly say I almost died in a revolver shootout, and it was the most insane, terrifying experience of my life.